So let's get into, I know you're worked up today.
Yeah,
I
typically am.
The Kawhi Leonard Love Fest.
Kawhi Leonard's an excellent player, and I'm really excited to watch him progress along his career. But here's what I know. In the next round, Kawhi Leonard will not be the best player in the series. It'll be James Harden. If they win that series, Kawhi Leonard won't be the best player in that series. It'll be Kevin Durant. And if they win that series, Kawhi Leonard won't be the best player in that series. It'll be LeBron James. We have to slow down on Kawhi Leonard. Colin, how many times in Kawhi's career, this illustrious career, where evidently he might be the best player in the league, how many times has he scored more than 40 points? The answer is once. What is Kawhi Leonard? This isn't a rhetorical one. What do you think Kawhi Leonard's career high in assists is? In any game, playoffs or regular season, career high in assists?
11.
It's 7. Since Kawhi Leonard's come into the league, he has 0 8+ assist games. In that same time stretch, the actual best player in the league, LeBron, is 213. So can we all calm down? Oh, but Kawhi's defense is what sets him apart. Kawhi's an excellent defensive player. I think he should have been runner-up defensive player the last couple years. I think Draymond was slightly better, but he's a great defensive player. But as we saw this year, as we've seen across NBA history, when your offensive workload gets increased, your defensive production dips.
Yes.
Which is why the Spurs were markedly better defensively when Kawhi Leonard was sitting next to Greg Popovich.
Thank you.
Rather than on the court. So again, Kawhi Leonard is one of the 7 best human beings alive at basketball. It's not an insult, but he ain't anywhere close to the best human being alive playing basketball. And everyone, it's like People Magazine does like the most beautiful person in the world. It's Beyonce every year. It's Beyonce every single year.
Yeah.
But you can't give it to Beyonce every single year.
So Ryan Gosling gets it.
So we find a new one, and it's fine. Oh, my gosh, this year it's Catherine Zeta-Jones. Oh, she's a beautiful woman, but calm down. As long as LeBron's still doing what he's doing, and we can get to that later, like this, Kawhi Leonard's best feature is that he's the closest thing to LeBron, but he ain't that close.
All right, the Boston Celtics, Nick Wright. They're inches away.
Oh
they are just an off-balance jumper from creating an all-time. It doesn't mean anything, does it?
Daryl Morey had an interesting tweet.
Houston Rocket GM.
Thank you. A couple weeks ago. Now, his tweet was the genesis of it is he thinks Harden should be MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's a little biased in this, obviously.
Yeah.
But he said, we've lost track of winning. AAU, resting stars, the NBA All-Star game, and then the NBA MVP was his point. Because if Russ wins it, he will be the first winner in over 30 years whose team has no shot of winning a title.
None.
Every winner.
300-1 odds.
Right. No shot of winning the title. So that was Daryl's point. I think we've lost track of winning when we evaluate GMs as well to a degree. Because all I've heard the last 4 years, Danny Ainge fleeced the Nets. The Celtics are set up for a run, a dynasty success. Let's just look at since that trade. It's now 4 years ago. Since that trade, playoff games won by, let's call the top 20. There's only 30 teams. Top 20 teams, playoff games won in the last 4 years. Can we show that, please? Because this is a fascinating graphic and a fascinating number. All right, well, LeBron's number 1 at 45. But of teams, Boston Celtics are 20th with 2 playoff games won. The Brooklyn Nets, who they fleeced, have 7 playoff game wins. The Milwaukee Bucks, who just became relevant this year, somehow have more than the Celtics. The Celtics, because they had to hold on to those precious assets, refused to go get one of the 12 best players in the sport, Jimmy Butler or Paul George. They didn't want to bring in DeMarcus Cousins for nothing because he would mess up our culture. Oh, your culture of getting mollywopped in the first round is 1 seed. That precious culture. So let's just play this forward. Oh, Nick, you're being unfair. It's the future assets. Okay, so first of all, they have a 1 in 2 shot of not getting a top 2 pick. And if you don't get a top 2 pick, all of a sudden it's Josh Jackson. He's 4 years from mattering.
He's a nice player.
And maybe one day he'll be really good, but that's a long ways away. But so it's a coin flip whether or not they get Fultz or Ball. But let's say they get it. Let's tease this out. So you bring in a star point guard. when the best player on your team is an undersized point guard who next year is the last year on his contract, and then all of a sudden you're making a decision and you're paying Al Horford $30 million, and all these great contracts you have aside from Jay Crowder, they're all expiring in the next couple years. And now what are you? What are you, Boston, for this amazing haul? I mean, you got a coin flip shot of getting Fultz or Ball, which will be great. But guess what then you turn into? What, the Pelicans? They had Anthony Davis. It's amazing. But what's around him? The Celtics had a chance to actually try to win. The Cavs were wobbly. Bad the second half of the season. LeBron at some point is not going to make the finals. The Celtics misjudged this. This was the bet they made. We're going to try to wait out LeBron. LeBron's going to make 7, 8, 9 in a row, and then he's going to stop making NBA finals and will be good. Here's why I think they misjudged it. I think LeBron, I don't think he's going to make 9 in a row. I think he's going to make 9 out of 10, meaning there's going to be a year he doesn't make the finals, but then he's going to make 2 or 3 more after. That year could have been this year. Jaylen Brown, trade him. The Nets pick, trade him. Amir Johnson for cap filler. That works. That gets you. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, it was Terry Rozier. Nonsense. If you call Chicago or Indiana and say, we're giving you a top 5 pick from this year, Jaylen Brown, who's good, a great chance at Fultz or Ball, or 50-50 chance at Fultz or Ball, and that's your rebuild. 2 top 5 picks guaranteed, whether you get Fultz or Ball or not. They make the trade. The Celtics decided, in my opinion, let's just hold on to our precious assets.
It's all garbage. If you look at who is winning in the playoffs, it's guys, it's just old people. I mean, you could categorize them as Lowry, Rondo, even broken down guys. Here's who's not winning anything in the playoffs. Exciting young guy.
And you know what? Right now, this moment, throw the Cavs out. What's the team in the East I'm the most bullish on? It's not Boston. It's Milwaukee. Because Milwaukee's got the star. I love Isaiah Thomas, but a 5'8" guy who's approaching 30, I mean, that guy, he's not going to be a star for 10 years. The best Isaiah Thomas we're likely ever going to see was this year.
Yep.
You had a chance to make him your second best player by adding Jimmy Butler, and go for it. And instead, okay, Boston, I hope you enjoy your next 5 to 6 years of this. You cap out around 50 wins, you never get lower than 40 wins, and you never win a title. The whole point of an asset is to get someone as good as Jimmy Butler or Paul George, and they punted on it.
Just put up the graphic one more time. Most playoff wins in the last 4 years. Finally, LeBron, you've got some thoughts.
Yeah, shocking. I've got some thoughts on LeBron. We take this for granted, the sustained greatness. A funny guy on Twitter who I don't know if you follow, but you should, Dragonfly Jones, brought this up. He's like, in 2003, LeBron was phenomenal. It's 2017, he's still phenomenal. In 2003, I was graduating high school. LeBron was great. In 2007, I was barely graduating college. LeBron was putting up 48 on the Pistons to beat them. 2017, I'm here. He's been the same. So we take it for granted. LeBron started the playoffs with a ho-hum 32, 7, 13, 60% shooting. In the last 34 years, that's been done 3 times in the playoffs. Michael Jordan, Chris Paul, LeBron James. The next night, LeBron put up a stat line that's been done once in the last 34 years in the playoffs by LeBron James. So in his first 2 playoff games, after 6 straight finals, after a bigger workload than anybody, in year 14, first 2 games of the playoffs, he puts up a stat line that had only been done twice before, and he follows that up with a stat line that had never been done before. And no one's talking about it. Instead, what we're talking about is, has Kawhi passed him? Everyone take a deep breath.
By the way, when did LeBron break into the NBA?
2003.
So I just want to take this back. 2003, I was doing sports in Portland, Oregon, and I was covering Oregon State football. Yeah. And I was breaking down, I had a high school football Friday show. That's where my career was in 2003. Where were you in 2003?
2003, I was graduating high school. 2007, Colin, you were becoming a star at the other network.
2007, I had just taken over for a man named Tony Kornheiser and was hated by America.
Okay. In 2007, I was trying to graduate from college. 2007, LeBron was making his first finals. We can do this. He's been phenomenal from my childhood to now I have a child in college.